So Brandon Aiyuk, by all accounts, just had an excellent offseason. He was with Trey Lance every step of the way, not just at the Niners facility, but off on their own in LA, working with the quarterback, getting on the same page with him. Went to every OTA, minicamp, training camp, and really was one of the MVPs of the offseason. How do the Niners reward him week 1? 2 targets, 1 carry, 3 touches. That's it. Meanwhile, Debo, who had a great season last year, but held out, didn't go to OTAs, didn't go to minicamp, missed the first week of training camp, showed up what I thought was a little out of shape. 8 targets, 8 carries. What? What about Brandon Aiyuk? What about all he earned this offseason? What do you think of Brandon? And not just that, 2 targets, 40 yards. What if he got 11 targets like Justin Jefferson got when he went for 200 yards? I mean, I'd like to know. What'd you think of that? 2 targets. Brandon.
Well, I'd like to see them use, first of all, it seems like Aiyuk is one of these guys that if he doesn't touch it, he maybe gets disinterested. And maybe I'm misreading that, but that's just kind of my sense of it. Like if you get him, if he touches the ball early in the game, it's a great indicator. So I would manufacture some early game touches for Aiyuk just to get him in the, you wake him up, get him in the flow, and then I would start using him.
And they did that though. First drive of the game, they hit him for 31.
Right,
they did that.
They have to have at least 5 or 6 targets for him every game. They're deep, but they're not that deep. He needs to get 5 or 6 targets a game, and no excuses really.
Honestly, I think he deserves more than 5 or 6. I think he is the number 1 target on this team, the number 1 receiver on this team because of who the quarterback is. Lance right now needs to throw outside the numbers. That's Aiyuk. Aiyuk runs really nice out routes and comeback routes, and he gives you this big catch radius that you wouldn't expect a 6-foot wide receiver to have because he has these long arms, and he's very short-handed. I still don't understand.
And he can catch the fastball.
He can catch the fastball, and he's good enough after the catch. And he can do stuff like the jet sweeps. Also, I feel like they don't do enough with him. He's never in the slot. He's always just outside. I think Kyle can use some of his creativity on Aiyuk, and I think he's earned it. Again, he's the one that's in phenomenal shape. Debo's trying to get there. Don't be stuck in last season. What about now? Look at your guys now. Aiyuk looks really good. He got 20 yards a target. That's a guy who deserves a 3rd target. I'm thinking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you cannot get to the end of the game and have Aiyuk and Dwelly have the same targets.
No.
Ayuk's got to be treated like a star. Yep. Treat him like a star. Yep. Start featuring him a little bit more. Start getting him touches earlier on. Start using him. I agree wholeheartedly with your idea to use him out of the slot. Yeah. This guy's got long arms. He never runs tentatively across the middle. He runs across the middle like he owns it. So good. He doesn't look like he ever gets alligator arms or fearful. No. Throw him the ball.
Right. And last year, they didn't throw him the ball the first half of the season. They started 3-5. It made no sense. And they're trying to say that it had something to do with his practice habits. Okay. Well, all I know is you didn't use him in the offense. You struggled. You bring him back in the offense. You go on this run. You don't use him in this game. You struggle. Like you kept saying, well, he did the right things. He's out of the doghouse. We want to reward him. Three touches. You got to reward him. Otherwise, like you said, he's going to check out.
It's a weird situation they have because I asked Kyle Shanahan after the Super Bowl. I said Deebo Samuel at halftime of the Super Bowl was arguably on track to be the MVP of the game. And then he only touched the ball 2 times in the second half, Kyle. What would you say to that? And he's like, well, that's not how it's done and this and that. It's about a lot of things. Mm-hmm. I get it. But guess what? You're the head coach, and your desires and wants should supersede everything else. And you should have decided that on Thursday before the Super Bowl. Hey, Debo's going to get X number of targets at least. Show me a coach. I mean, the whole job of being a coach is to put your players in the, play off your talent appropriately and put your players in the best chance to have success. And I just feel like it's a little bit like random as far as who gets the ball and how often they get the ball. And I don't think it's random for how many times Tyreek Hill got the ball in KC. I think Andy Reid made sure he had, a certain number of touches. I know I was expecting Tyreek to get the ball a lot in the second half of that game in the Super Bowl, and he did. So I'd like to see the 49ers take a little bit more aggressive, less organic approach to getting touches for their star offensive weapons. Don't like, hey, it's in the stars, it might happen. No, you make it happen. You absolutely, you dictate to the defense what you want to do and how often you want those guys to touch it.
Right. And it's not like in that Super Bowl that the Chiefs were selling out to take away Debo. I mean, he wasn't that player. There was Kittle on the field too. I mean,
right.
There was a lot they had to worry about. And the fact that Kyle couldn't get the ball to Debo, he's trying to act like, oh, you don't quite understand football. It's not that simple. Like, no. That's a great player. Simple. You're a great play caller. Your job is to get on the ball. And if you say you can't, then you're saying the other coach is better than you. That he dictated.
I've sat in meetings where coaches have said 5 days before the game, I want this receiver to get 6 touches or more. I want this receiver to get at least 2 touches per half. Right. I want this tight end to touch the ball at least once a half. So don't tell me that that's not the way it's done, because that is the way it's done.
If Al Davis were the owner of the Niners and he was paying for these players and Debo Samuel just didn't get a touch in the Super Bowl. Al Davis, who was a coach at one time, was like, Kyle, what? How did you not get Debo the ball? And Kyle's like, it's not that simple, Al. What the hell do you mean it's not that simple?
Well, no, that he's a running back. It is that simple because you literally could call a handoff.
Yeah.
It's not even predicated on, the coverage, they were tilting everything, they were taking this away. No, he's a running back and a receiver. You can dictate how many times you want him to touch it and should.